Arthur Grant was a veterinarian student. He nearly ran into Nessie on his motorcycle. He was crossing the road in front of him. Here's what Arthur said about it after almost hitting it. He said, I had a splendid view of the object. In fact, I almost struck it with my motorcycle. It had a long neck and oval-shaped eyes on top of a small head. The tail would be from 5 to 6 feet long and very powerful. The curious thing about it was that the end was rounded off. It did not come to a point. The total length of the animal would be 15 to 20 feet. Knowing something of natural history, I can say that I have never seen anything in my life like the animal I saw. It looked like a hybrid. I jumped off my cycle and followed the animal, which had entered the lock with great speed. There was a huge splash from the disturbance of the surface. It had evidently made away before I reached the shore. By Arthur Grant. There's the sketch he drew of the creature that he saw crossing the road right in front of his motorcycle. The guy's a veterinarian student. He ought to know something about animals. Okay? He said, that's what I saw. Alexander Campbell was the game warden for Loch Ness for 47 years. He said he saw Nessie 18 times. First sighting back in the 1930s. Here's the sketch Alexander Campbell drew of the creature that he saw in Loch Ness. Cages have been built to try to capture the Loch Ness Monster. Many folks have drawn sketches of what they've seen. Not too many photographs in existence. Of course, people say, why don't they get a good picture? Well, that's a little easier said than done. I'll show you. Has anyone here ever seen a car accident? You saw it happen. I would like to see you get a picture of one as it happens. Even if the camera is sitting there beside you, accidents happen so quick. Oh, I should have got a picture. If you don't stage the accident, I'd like to see a photo of one that somebody actually was ready and alert enough to get a picture as it happened. Not a video, just a still photo. That'd be interesting. But lots of folks claim they've seen the Loch Ness Monster. The Spicer family said they saw it crossing the road with a sheep in its mouth. Several reports like that. There are 3 sightings that I read about where somebody saw babies of the Loch Ness Monster, they assume. This fella got a picture of a back sticking out of the water and a neck off to the far right. When they published this picture in Reader's Digest, they cropped off the head. You know, Reader's Digest, condensed edition. All they show is the back sticking out of the water, but that photograph is on the table right here from Reader's Digest, Strange Stories, Amazing Facts. MacLeod said he saw the Loch Ness Monster. He watched it through his binoculars for 9 minutes and drew this sketch of what he saw. He said his neck was long and it moved back and forth like a snake about to strike. After watching it for 9 minutes, that's the picture he drew of the creature in Loch Ness. Many folks report this creature, 11,000 of them. World Book Encyclopedia paid a fellow to bring a submarine from America over to Loch Ness and put it in the lake. There have been 3 submarine attempts. They say the water is like being in a giant mud puddle. It's very black, murky water. You go down a few feet and everything's black. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. And it's 900 feet deep in places. The fellow Dan Taylor from Hardyville, South Carolina, built the mini-sub. He said, Nessie is pretty elusive. I thought I got her. Something was lying on the bottom and the wash from it threw my submarine way off course. Japanese put 24 boats in Loch Ness, sailed the entire length of the lake, taking sonar pictures of the whole bottom. First time in 1987 that the bottom of Loch Ness was mapped. They said the bottom is wrinkled up like a raisin. They had a sonar curtain as they scanned down this thing, and they said they picked up some large objects 300 feet down but couldn't tell what they were. Large objects that were moving, but they couldn't tell what they were with the sonar from that great distance. They said the bottom, though, is wrinkled up like a raisin with many places to hide, including, apparently, caves going back into the mountains. Maybe there are airlocks where the creature goes in the cave and comes up and has can breathe up in there. Don't know. Certainly a possibility to consider. Academy of Applied Science actually got a picture of a diamond-shaped flipper underwater. They did this with sonar-activated camera. They put it in 80 feet deep water with the camera and sonar and flash, so that if something swam in front, it would flash and take pictures. After getting pictures of all sorts of fish going by, they got this picture of a giant animal, the flipper on the side of its body. This article and picture appeared in Reader's Digest, showing Nessie with its mouth open. Many people report seeing humps sticking out of the water. The surgeon's photo is now claimed to be a fake, and it could indeed be a fake, I don't know. But it's interesting to me that everybody waited till the last guy died to announce it's a fake. They say the nephew of the surgeon on his deathbed confessed it was a fake. Well, we're taking their word for it. I mean, it may be true that it is a fake. I don't know. But it's interesting they waited till the last guy died. But Loch Ness is not the only lake. There are 7 other lakes reporting creatures like this. Loch Lochy, Loch Morag, Loch Shiel. There's the Cornwallis sea serpent. You're from Cornwallis area, right? This is what I was telling you about. The creature down there called Morgwar, the Cornish sea serpent. Many folks claim they have seen this creature. In the English Channel, there have been many reports of a creature called the English Channel sea serpent. In 1749, a marine monster was caught in England resembling, in some degree, an alligator, having 2 large fins which serve for swimming or flying. It had 2 legs terminating in hoofs like those of an ass. Its body was covered with impenetrable scales. It had 5 rows of teeth. It appeared in the dictionary or encyclopedia or something in the late 1700s. This creature washed up on the beach in Normandy, France. It was 35 feet long. 2 professors from Paris Natural History Museum analyzed the creature and said it was definitely not a whale, not a sea cow. It's possible we are in the presence of an unknown species, they said. This animal swam past a boat in Brazil, off the coast of Brazil, in the Atlantic Ocean. 2 experienced naturalists on board reported the creature had a dorsal fin 6 feet long and 2 feet high, a small head on top of a neck 7 or 8 feet long in front of the fin. They published it in an article in 1905. This fellow said, I saw swimming parallel to the ship underwater a curious creature around 4 feet long with a long neck and large flippers. I believe, as did my wife who also saw it, that it was a young plesiosaurus. A Queensland correspondent wrote me that a young plesiosaur was taken in a net off Mudgee Beach, Australia. He sent me a sketch which is like the one I myself saw off the coast of Greece. That's Sir Arthur Doyle. In New Zealand, there's a fishing place off to the right called the, I forget the name of it now, but the water's only 900 feet deep. The rest of the ocean's a lot deeper than that. But the Japanese do a lot of fishing right there. They were dragging their net 900 feet down when they pulled this creature up in their net. It was 32 feet long, 4,000 pounds, and had apparently 4 big flippers. It had a fin running down its back. It smelled horribly. When they set it down on the deck, it broke in half, and pus oozed out everywhere and stunk up the whole boat. And so they said, fellas, we don't know what it is, but we're throwing it back. We're not going to haul this thing back to Japan. You know how far it is from New Zealand to Japan at 12 miles an hour? So they shoved it overboard. But the naturalist on board made a sketch of what he thought it might have looked like. And they even made a special stamp for Japanese mail, 1977. Now, some American scientists who never saw the creature said, well, the samples they took of the skin, and they did save some skin samples, by the way, when they analyzed them, the protein was 96% similar to basking shark. And they said, see, that proves it's a shark. No, it doesn't prove it's a shark. It might have been a basking shark, I don't know. But the fellows who had it in their hands said, no, it's not a shark. We know what sharks are. It's a plesiosaurus. By the way, they make a big deal about apes and humans being 98% similar in their DNA. And yet they're very different creatures, right? And nobody's ever seen plesiosaur protein to know what it is supposed to look like. So just because it's 96% similar does not mean it is not a different creature. Protein called elastidin is one identified in the carcass. Okay? This creature was seen in Russia in a big lake up there. It's called Mystery of the Lake. What looked like a huge dinosaur washed up on Russia's north coast in 1994. The carcass was 39 feet long. Japan, on the upper island and one of the lower islands, has reports of a creature similar to Loch Ness Monster. On Lake Ikeda, they call the creature Issy. In China, they've got one they call a USO, unidentified swimming object. Sweden has had many reports of a creature in this lake up in central Sweden. 150 times it's been seen by 450 people since 1635. Canada has many reported lake monsters. We have the book on our website or on our table out here if you want to get hold of this book, Canada's Lake Monsters. This article says, Nessie's Canadian cousin. Scientists are believers. We're talking about the Ogopogo. The Ogopogo is the name they've given to the creature that lives in Lake Okanagan, just north of Spokane, Washington. In this huge lake, 80 miles long. Arlene Gall has spent a lifetime studying this. Now, she does not necessarily believe in creation, or at least young Earth creation.